I'm sure they'd be happy to sell you one.
Uh-huh.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Professional Hippies. We're your hippies, and today we have a guest. I'll introduce them in a moment. If you are new to the show, hey, we like to keep it professional, sometimes hippie. Today's probably actually going to be right in the meaty middle of that. So we're going to cover a lot of different topics, just current world events, what's happening in the world. And if you've listened to previous episodes, one of our, Joey, I was thinking of different adjectives I could use to describe you, but one of our good buddies, a man of many crafts, let's say. Joe, we got to get an official bio for you, but our in-house expert on everything martial arts, I don't know if jiu-jitsu would be under that umbrella. Our in-house expert on stoicism, certainly someone we can outsource our brains to, and our in-house expert on just looking good. Overall, a man that we all aspire to be. Joey, welcome back to the podcast, brother.
Thank you so much for the warm introduction. It's good to be back.
Good to have you, man. Good to have you.
Sound for that. That was good. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
There we go. Crack a cold one. What we were talking about before the podcast, though, because Dylan and I spoke about it a little bit, but all I got was pretty much teasers. Dylan, you may be able to tee it up better. Joey, probably the best at this because you've been the one delving into it. But tell us what's been going on with the spiritual side of things, curiosity, what's happening, brother?
Well, so my entire life, I was raised in a more Buddhist household. So growing up in California, my dad took me to like Zen gardens. He was big into Zen Buddhism. He taught mindfulness meditation here in Tampa for years. So he's taught me a lot, and I've always been more agnostic, I guess. But recently, I went on a Shroud of Turin rabbit hole, and I basically came away forcing to concede these 3 points like simultaneously that Jesus Christ was real. The crucifixion did happen, and it was very accurately described in the Bible. So, with those three conclusions reached, I just made the decision to buy a Bible. I bought the Old Testament, and I've been reading a little bit here and there. And I guess my mentality about it is, since I now believe that he's a real person, I want to just listen to what he had to say. If I can adopt some of his principles, then awesome. I'm sure I will. Um, I may never become a full Christian in a sense. I may never be, a Sunday churchgoer type. But it just feels really good, man. It feels good to read it, and I want to see how it can affect my life in any positive way. So that's really all it is.
What version did you pick up?
I got the Old Testament, so I got the English Standard Version.
You're just plowing through the English Standard Version?
Yeah.
That's just so interesting to me. I mean, no, there's different, like the NIV,
like the King James, and yeah. Well, because I didn't want to, because the way I understand it is King James literally changed it to his liking.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna read what all of the scholars and everyone put together 2,000 years ago, and not what one single person wanted. That was more a logical decision to me. But
for sure, I mean, that's just kind of dense. I'm impressed. If anything,
all people that
I
can
hope that's
read
what it's coming
Dan's
off.
book, it's Joey.
Yeah,
I've seen him.
I've read my fair share of Dad's books.
I've seen a book like this, and in my head, I'm like, "That's years, buddy." And then, like by the end of the weekend, he's like, "Yeah, I'm almost done." What, dude?
So you're just reading it front to back?
Yeah, I'm still in Genesis, so
yeah.
If I can get through 1,000-page books on economics, I can read the Old Testament.
Sure.
So.
Yeah.
The thing with the Bible, and I think even with economics, right? Economics, it kind of creates a lot of explanation a lot of times on things, and it gives you answers. I feel like with the Bible, though, it's going to give you a lot of opportunities where you read it and you're going to have to set it down and think about it. There's a lot of things that come up through that process, right? There's no answers to things. you have to kind of come up with your own answer to a lot of things, or be like, is that how that should be? And in essence, I've heard that story before and I've heard it told this way, but now that I've seen the backstory to it, is that what I think? I feel like,
Hmm.
the Bible, some people do try to crush it, and I've heard of people crushing it on their second time around. But that first time around, a lot of times it's like, I got to think on this, whatever.
Couple pages at a time. That's sort of
Yeah.
the pace I'm at.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many stories and there's so many different things and a lot of contradictions that also happen in it as well. And so you're like, man, I read something different a few stories ago compared to this. Is that relevant to what I just read?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing, I don't just hearing that though, is it's kind of inspiring because there are so many lessons and morals that come out of the Bible. I mean, Dylan and I put myself in church when I was 11, and I think that's a radically different experience as well versus picking it up for yourself and seeing like, hey, how's this land for me versus through the lens of a pastor or youth pastor or whatever, but because they're going to put their own flavor, specifically in New Testament, where it's a bit more metaphorical, or in the context of something larger, like a life lesson, like versus you just sitting down and kind of reading it front to back and hearing it from. I don't know. The Old Testament gets wild, man. There's
There's already been some wild passages like Isaac almost sacrificing his son. I was like, yo,
Classic.
hey man,
Mhm.
that's not cool. This is not cool. But
Classic.
but the
God.
way
Hey,
the way I've heard it
whoa,
described,
dude. Just kidding, man. God. Didn't
but
know you were.
a great description I've heard of the Bible was from Jordan Peterson in that it's really charting the moral progression of humanity. So yeah, there is barbarism and there's animalistic behavior that we would find, disgusting or displeasing now, but that's what you're really seeing through the story of the Bible.
Kind of like
So
how far we've come as a civilization.
yeah,
Here's what
yeah, yeah.
things used to be. Here's how we predicted things, or here's how God maybe had to say things, or stories he had to portray or say in order to get his point across on things. And one of the things I think I noticed too, and you might not, you may notice it too. And Colton, you talked about how you said you put yourself in the church at 11, right? I was put in the church. I mean, I was, as far as I can remember, I was in the church, already
Mhm.
going to Bible classes and stuff, right? But in the stories, you don't really hear much of like children being taught lessons in the Bible. Like children are being used as part of lessons, like Isaac, the story of Isaac, right? But it's always like adults being taught. I've always found it. I wish I almost feel like sometimes becoming a Christian or learning about Christianity or God or Allah, any of them, almost is better is if you go through a little bit part of your life and now you're in kind of the more adult learning stage of your life, the 20s, 30s, and that's the best time to pick it up now and learn about it because now you're on
Hmm.
your own as an adult and you can form your own opinions on things. And I feel like trying to force that on kids when they're younger kind of disassociates them from being able to form their own thought processes what's in their, I don't know, while their brain's developing, I guess.
Yeah, and you don't have any life experience to really draw from. It's like you haven't gone through
Right.
anything yet. Like, yeah, no, I would agree with that.
I think
Yeah.
the idea though is to like preserve the innocence or kind of the clarity of decisions. Like when you talk about like charting the development of humanity and like how the 10 Commandments come into play, and you think
Hmm.
about the time that that's relevant for, it's not like we're still working with the same hardware, so to speak. It's not like people couldn't
Yeah,
make
yeah.
rational decisions back then either. But a lot of the conveniences are non-existent, right? Like if you're just trying to make it by, things might get a little wild if you're like, do I feed my family or, do I just let them starve kind of thing, stealing from a neighbor or who knows. But if you can raise a child in kind of a structured manner in which they're not thinking about being in a marriage and they see the broken home they came from and going and sleeping with their neighbor's wife, or et cetera, et cetera. There's so many things that like they want to kind of protect that innocence, so to speak, and that only does benefit the society at large, right? I mean, there's so many really foundational morals and principles that come out of the Bible. I think over time, it's just impossible for power not to cling on to that and create like these other ancillary structures that kind of manipulate people for their own purposes.
Fair. Yeah, I mean there is definitely manipulation of people. I mean, it is an institution after all that seeks to protect itself, but preserve itself. But objectively speaking, like look at what it has created as far as like Western civilization. Like Europe and America, the Americas. I mean, there's a lot to be said for like the progression of human society as a whole through religion as its engine. You know.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, whether it's Christianity or not,
Mhm.
religion's played a really foundation. I always wondered like why we all feel like maybe not all of us, but speaking through my perspective, most people I come across, like we all feel like we have that missing puzzle piece. Where do we come from? What are we here for? What's this all about? Type of deal. And religion makes a really solid attempt at trying to answer that. I mean, yeah, without some kind of structure, I don't know. Maybe we'd all just be fucking and killing each other. But
Yeah.
when you think about that too, right? And Joe, you'll get to the story of the Tower of Babylon at some point, right? Where the story of
Okay.
the Tower of Babylon is where everyone speaks the same language, everyone's pretty much the same culture, and then they're trying to build a tower to get to God, to get to heaven. They're like, let's see if we can just reach them by building a tower. And then God's like, that's not cool. That's not how you do that. And so he basically just says like, all right, everyone speaks a different language now, right? And he basically creates cultures. God just says, everyone gets broken off into these different ones. Everyone finds each other that speaks the same language, and then they go in different parts of the world now. That's kind of like the creation of the cultures, right? And it's interesting. And then they all found themselves. What's the meaning? And they all found themselves and like, oh, we must be doing this purpose. And I always wonder sometimes if kind of tying this into aliens, right? That's a big talk these days. Is if aliens arrive, and I was listening to another podcast about this, would that kind of be the next Tower of Babylon? Because that would pretty much break down religion entirely to where everyone would now form their own opinion. It would break down so many people's opinion on religion that now everyone would kind of be their own version of the Tower of Babel, and governments definitely don't want that.
Well, I think that was one of the core reasons why, and I do believe that we are not alone and that we have, let's say, inherited technology from other, I don't know. There's so many different angles, like you can call them extraterrestrials or interdimensional beings, or maybe they're advanced humans, right?
interdimensional fucking frog beings.
But that is one of the biggest risks, and probably why, let's say, the government or the entities or people in control of this information didn't want to release this information because it would break down society. Like so much faith would be lost, like in our core beliefs. But I don't know, maybe humanity is ready for it now. Maybe we've gone through so much shit in the past, call it 50 years, that we're now ready for something like that. I think we might be.
Dude, if they came down and just said what's up and peaced out,
Yeah, I don't know if that'll work.
that's just set for sure. God came to visit, new religion, world order, burn it down.
Yeah.
You're either
Just
for the
Set up one
aliens or you're
world
against.
government.
It's like two big middle fingers, and then they're out. Like
Yeah, just a drive by. Fuck you. You're fucking it up. This isn't what we were supposed to do. But if they come and park, I think yes. Then
It's like
you
some
have a little bit more of a
aliens. They
stable.
just open the door and piss out the door.
Like the
Out.
Big Les show, Sassy the Sasquatch, like comes down like, hey, how's it going, mate?
That's called.
Or they just bring like their version of a Rubik's Cube down and they're just sitting in kind of like the one-way mirror. They're just watching us try and figure it out. They're like, oh, wrong guess, radiation. Try
They
again.
come by like kids smashing mailboxes, except they hit the moon. Just knock it out of here. But yeah, it's interesting you're reading all this. Sorry, Colton. Go ahead.
No, I was just curious. So, Joe, you haven't been really exposed to the stories from the Bible? Like a lot of this is kind of first time you're encountering these stories and
Well, I was around it because of football and sports, and it was, we had like lectures on stories from the Bible from like my coaches and stuff, and I went to like Christian camps when I was a kid just because that's what the other kids were doing, and my
Mhm.
parents wanted to socialize me. So like, and the entire rest of my family is very religious, but I was sort of the black sheep. We were the black sheep, and they didn't raise me with any religion. Like I was never baptized or anything. Um, so I did have exposure to it, but I guess it was just in one ear out the other. I never really took it seriously.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Kind of jealous in a way. Yeah, because encountering that as a
Mm.
grown adult, like I don't know, that's really fresh, man. I'm excited for you. Excited to see what comes of
Yeah,
Thanks.
it.
I definitely wish I would have encountered it more as an adult than forced on it more as a kid. Because I feel like since I was really like I couldn't have graduated without knowing this stuff. Like that's the thing. Like I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't have graduated from my school if I didn't have an A in Bible, and knowing all this, right? And so it almost felt like it was so driven in my head, and the things that I needed to learn and your typical stories and stuff. I didn't want to pursue really thinking about it much more. And I think that's the greatest part about the Bible and the religion is really being profound on yourself about it and thinking bigger
Hmm.
about it than what just the story is. Whereas I was really driven on memorize the verse. What's the story about? Write about the story. Give it to me. Pass the class. I really
Mm-hmm.
didn't
Hmm.
have much of an opportunity to like think broader on what it really meant.
Hmm. Yeah, the framework I kind of think about it, that I think about most things is that the universe has kind of gifted it to me.
Mhm.
Like I guess the universe decided I was ready for it, and so it presented it to me.
Hmm. Now, once you get really deep into it, it'll be interesting mushroom trips you're going to have with that one.
It's
Because
true.
it does, it does affect your mental on that one a little bit. And I know I know I've had conversations with both of y'all about it, of just broader mindsets about it and what this really means. And it does give you a different perspective on things. And especially since you start seeing
Hmm.
a lot more evidence on things, right? I mean, the shroud, right? Or the flood, a lot more evidence has come out that's the big one that's kind of triggered a lot of
Yeah.
since there's a lot more evidence now of the flood that's come out. But then what's also throwing off a lot of Christians is the story of the flood is in all the religions.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That's global. Yeah. Yeah. You guys have watched Graham Hancock show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's so crazy how they all depict like the same people visiting them. They built similar structures, same story all over the world.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting that the structure there's a structure in each one. That's what
Yeah.
it's not like, hey, there was a big flood, we tried to get out of it. We made our way up to a cave type of scenario. It's always like building a big structure. Like why was something exaggerated to make that happen? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe someone did build a big structure and save animals, but like it just seems like for something that happened so quick, did they and they were every one of them were warned that something was coming and enough time to build such a massive structure. I would feel like it'd be more like, hey, there's water coming. Let's get up to the cave, more than like that.
Hmm.
It's those little things that like so that I found myself like as you talked about we're talking about the mushrooms still and where I'm like almost wanting Joey not to like taint your experience, like when someone's gonna do psychedelics for the first time and you're like, go try it and report back. I'm curious how this lands for you. I don't want you to have my trip
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so the only thing that did end up putting a wedge for me were those like subtle inaccuracies or pieces that couldn't be just objectively verified, right? Like when you talk about like, hey, Jesus was a real guy, he was actually crucified, and all that kind of good stuff. Like those are awesome. Like the teachings, like when you dig into like the actual teachings of Jesus, they're awesome. Like objectively,
Mhm.
you're like, yeah, this is like some deep fucking wisdom. And then you get into, like feeding 2 or 3,000 people with a loaf of bread or 2 loaves and a fish, and
Yeah.
some dude taking out 800 people with a donkey jaw, and just little things like that where you're like, fuck, like we're right there kind of thing. The Noah's Ark, it's like 2 of every animal,
You really built a boat.
It really was, well, it
the
didn't
boat
leak.
I can get behind. I can
Well,
get behind
maybe.
a giant fucking boat. 2 of every animal? I just,
Yeah, they all definitely killed each other. Yeah.
You had, and then what other animals did you bring on that you killed? You had to bring more than 2 animals of each one because you had to feed some lions somehow.
Mhm.
yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
the
just
logistics are
little things like
problematic.
that.
Yeah,
Where you're like,
things throw it off, a little bit. And then it'll be interesting too when you read between the Old Testament. And I've told you this several times, Joey, but like the difference between the Old Testament God and the New Testament God. Like the Old Testament God, that's a war driven God. That's a
super cool though. He's real into blood sacrifice. Can't go wrong there.
He's like a
Very
15-year-old
metal.
gothic kid. He's really like
Yeah.
you don't love me, then fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send
For
my
sure.
little army to you.
Turn you bitches into salt.
And then it's like he got older and then he got tired of doing it. And he's like, I'll just send somebody.
Right.
You go take it. Oh, also there's this thing called the Holy Spirit, and he's everywhere. There you go. He's just, when Jesus isn't there, there's this other thing called the Holy Spirit. He'll be there with you too. All right.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also interesting to see though, like today though, how have you guys seen, what's that show? The Handmaid's Tale? Have you seen that?
No, but I've heard about it. I know what you're talking about.
Fucking twisted, dude.
Yeah.
Kind of twisted. Yeah. Like took a little bit for me to get into. Abby started watching it and I picked up maybe like on the 2nd season or something. It's just one of those where they kind of take the God thing a little far, like Old Testament God, but like New Days, woman stays at house, birthing
that's
babies.
What you have the classic Jewish societies and neighborhoods. They believe in the Old Testament. That's why you go to up to New York and they have all the Jewish societies where they have the neighborhoods like that. They're all believing in the Old Testament. They still live by those.
The Hasidic Jews.
No, Hasidic Jewish, yeah. So they all live by Old Testament. They don't believe Jesus and the whole New Testament. They think that guy was. They just really think that guy was a hippie that came along. And by all accounts, he's the ultimate hippie.
I mean, it's either he's God or his mother's a whore. It's like pretty clear one direction.
The biggest hippie. There is.
Kind of one or the other.
Well, they're not mutually exclusive.
I feel like they are. It's
The
either
only thing is
Jesus was a miracle or his mom didn't have the heart to tell him. And
Jesus'
he
dad
went.
also didn't work for Lockheed Martin. So, I mean, that's the only thing that's not mutual here. He was just
I hate to break it to you, son, but I did fuck men. What?
I'm sorry to.
How could you?
I did create the defensive spears for the village weapons. Sorry about that. He was a carpenter. Maybe he was. Maybe he did create the defensive weapons.
But no, it's interesting to see the kind of the resurgence that is having in modern day society, like putting the Bible in the classroom stuff, and just like the double standard, like in Texas where a lot of the stuff they were passing, and I think it was one of the senators stood up and was like, "Hey, aren't you guys trying to ratify this on Sunday?" And they're like, "Yeah, well, they're kind of like, we'll look the other way. I'm working on the Sabbath to pass this bill by ratifying that bill, putting the Bible or the 10 Commandments in all the schools." Like some of those. So like, that's the other part of it where it's like, I have no problem with people wanting to sink their teeth into something, but if you're going to try and impose it on other people, let's do it all the way. Like the Hasidic Jews,
don't be a
I
total
have the most respect for.
Like the 10 Commandments, that's a great life rules to live
Pretty
by.
solid.
The Ten
Pretty
Commandments
solid.
are solid. Like, put those in the law. I think everyone agrees with those. You know,
Mm-hmm.
those are
I
pretty
think the
good.
first one's kind of tough, but
Which
yeah,
one's that
everyone.
one? I forgot.
Our God's a jealous God. Don't worship any other gods but me.
It is true. That
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah, we're a little late on that one.
wouldn't that be and an argument to that would
That
be
ship sailed, bro.
since God had sailed. Wouldn't that be too that contradicts because that's from the Old Testament that contradicts what he creates in the New Testament. He basically creates a new God, which is Jesus Christ. And now, when you go to church, in all life in church, everyone's like, praise Jesus Christ. You know, pray to Jesus. Why wouldn't you pray to God? That's the guy you want to go to. He's the one answering your prayers, not.
Jesus is God, Our
Well, then,
God's an awesome God.
Mhm.
technically, God is all of us. So why don't I just pray to myself?
Well, that's the Holy Spirit. You're catching on. All right. You're getting there.
Here, Joey, I really need meeting tomorrow before they kill me. Thank you.
Oh, give me your first 10%, not your last. That's an Old Testament one. Give me your
Yeah.
best goat. Your first if you have 10. I want the best fucking goat. Don't give me busted down Billy Jeans over there, okay?
But remember,
I
on
want the
Sunday,
best
even if
goat.
your ox has fallen into the ditch, you must not get it out until Monday.
That poor
Oof.
ox.
Monday is the day of rest. But I know you need the money to pay me today, so the first 10%, not the last 10%, you got Friday. I need the one you got on Monday.
God's looking over. He's like, "You're right, though.
Don't
That
do
is
it.
some pretty solid prosciutto. I'll look the other way today."
I do feel like being lazy today, so
It is football Sunday. I'll look over here. My team's doing all right.
bro. Yeah, how are the Finns doing?
Another one of those contradictory things, right? Like football teams, your favorite sports team, and hurricanes. Contradictory prayers. I think Colton, you brought that up to me once. Was like that's one of those contradictory prayers of whose prayer wins.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, you got Sarasota praying that it hits Tampa. Tampa's praying that it hits Sarasota.
Yeah,
Who does God love more?
who got
He loves me the most because I'm praying for Dylan to survive a hurricane season.
I got one on my side.
Mm-hmm. We just need all you prayer warriors out there. All right, just channel
We just need
him to the highest level right now.
I'm
Okay?
at book
Turn
right
in your
now.
God antenna.
I'm my book right now, and all of that will go towards your prayers today.
we need another $10,000 to
Buy
reach
this
our
prayer
goal.
Rubik's cube. All right, it'll answer everything you got on your daily.
Sorry, I'm just
You
confused.
know, I think
Why'd you need another jet? You got me flustered, sweetheart. Give me a second.
fly
I
with
got
the
an answer for
demons.
you.
Don't fly with demons. If anyone's wondering what that's from, if you look up, just look up TV evangelist needs a jet. That'll answer a lot of questions.
I can't remember if that was his second jet or his third jet, by the way. But he
that
was.
guy was a demon.
Is he still alive though? Or
Alive,
did
still-
it,
He is okay. But
I
it
mean,
was
with that
those
much money.
types like him, like Joel Osteen. Like I saw that when I was a kid, and that really turned me off to or religion.
Joel's
Yeah.
the modern one. He's the newest coming on through.
Because
Yeah.
you just see through the grift. It's like when you don't grow up in a household that was centered around that, it was just very easy for me to see through that, at least that particular veil, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the power structure at play, right? So, like, that's the part of it where, again, I think, like, as adults, that, we've just tried different things to open up our consciousness, et cetera. Like, there's a lot of that beautiful wisdom that comes through, especially on a trip where you're like, oh, wait, like, I am God. Like, we all are God. I should approach it with that reverence. Like, there's these really beautiful melodies that come singing through when you're just, like, totally open.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come back and you realize, wait, there's a lot of people I could shepherd myself. And if they give me their 10%. And so Dylan and I have spoken about it years. Like starting a cult really sounds fresh. I mean, like,
It's really
it only
nice.
takes a couple.
couple going. Dude, I told Colton, I told you about this. Joe, you should watch this documentary on HBO. It's called Love Is One. And basically, this
Mm.
chick has basically started her own cult and portrayed to these people that she is a god, to the point that like her body was starting to go down and they thought her body would rise. Like it is a crazy documentary you'll have to watch called Love Has Won. Um,
Okay.
yeah, just that'll be an interesting one to talk about later. But y'all love it. It's a 3-part series on HBO, so it's not even like multiple. It's just 3 parts on there. And of course, as soon as I watch that, HBO has 100 cult documentaries. Turns out.
I love it. I'm so here for it. Speaking of going down, how do we feel about America, y'all? Do we think we're watching the fall of our empire?
Mixed emotions. I think there was
Right? Complicated?
there was a big um honeymoon period for like 6 weeks maybe, where everyone was like super excited about everything, like Doge making their cuts, and but it's been pretty rocky. Things I'm
Doge,
not
Doge, I think is
I'm
pretty
mixed. I have
good.
mixed feelings. Yeah.
Because they're about to hit Tampa
Um.
and Pinellas, and everyone down here, and I've already started talking with a lot of higher ups in the area. They're excited about Doge
mm,
coming, like on both sides, Republicans and Democrats. Because in Pinellas, everyone's
Oh,
like,
there's yeah.
it's awful. It is awful. No one knows where the money is all gone to that they got from the government and everything to support the neighborhoods. Hillsboro too, all trying to figure out what's happening. But like Doge is coming here, and they've already started like scheduling the auditing. So when when that got ramped up, I think a lot of the local cities are excited when these people come along because they're going,
hmm
let's see where, because everyone's questioning that nowadays. Hey, I pay all these tax dollars. It goes up every year. Where is this actually all going at this point?
hmm
So I think everyone can appreciate that. You're right. I think there was definitely a honeymoon. I think this new avenue was created, but I think that was a good one. Everyone's going to be excited about that one. But there definitely was a honeymoon before everything.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm an active market participant, as you guys know. So watching my net worth fucking implode in early April, that was
Yeah.
the first time where I was like, Trump, man, I am sick of your shit right now.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think they were a little too heavy-handed with the trade war, the tariff wars, but it's starting to pan out. But it's been a rocky road for sure.
I'm wondering what's going to happen on the back end though, because the lagging um, results, like especially of tariffs, I'm like, because you can't measure that immediately. I mean, like
No,
short-sightedly, sure you can, but like inflationary measures, inflation still seems to be fucking rocking, dude. So I'm
depends what
mainly
you look
curious.
at. Like insurance, like that is just never going down, and it's going to keep rocketing.
Yeah, but I mean, like, so the value of the dollar over the last 6 months is also diminished by 10%. So
Yep.
another way I would kind of gently pivot this, because China is now backing a stable coin, and
Yep.
right now 20% of our GDP is going to service the debt, and every 5 months we're adding another $1 trillion. Just basic economics. I mean, if we don't do something the next 5 to 7 years, we have rampant inflation. We start experiencing hyperinflation to service that debt. I'm really curious what, if anything, this administration or the next is going to do to curtail that, because there doesn't appear to be any solid solutions being proposed by anyone.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, the design of the dollar and the way fiat currencies work is that inflation is a systemic design of the currency itself. So,
Sure.
um, you can't you can't really get away with saving dollars anymore. People, now this can't be said for everybody, but some people who are more fortunate than others, they can buy assets, and you know, pretty much you have to be 99% assets going forward. That's really the only way that anyone's going to truly survive what's about to happen, because even though Doge is great and I'm happy with what they're doing, what's happening is absolutely inevitable. So I don't know if it's going to be 5 years. I think it's going to be, I would say 15, but I think the outcome is still going to be the same. Like you said, the dollar is diminished 99% over its lifetime, and in the last couple of years, probably down 10, 20%. I think the 2008 crash and the introduction of QE, which is really just the Federal Reserve buying back their own bonds, which that is a Ponzi scheme in itself, right?
Sure.
They are paying themselves back, and COVID, I think, was the last straw and all the money printing that happened there. So there was maybe a chance before COVID that it could have been reversed, but I think it's too late now. So as far as this particular administration, they have created the strategic Bitcoin reserve, and there's talks of them like integrating Bitcoin into treasuries, like 5% into treasuries, and that could definitely help. Um, but yeah, there's no solving inflation, man. That
Well, I
is
don't
how
think
the
you want to
system
like
is
solve
designed.
for it, right? Yeah, I mean, 2 to 3% is what we ideally want to see, as an incentive to not hold your money if you have it. And again, there's a ton to unpack here, right? But like
Yeah.
year over year, when you're seeing 6, 7, 8, 9% inflation, then the whole idea of the game, when you're not willing to let the market bleed, when you're not willing to let the market reset and hurt, like that's where we got to pick a fucking lane, Like, are we going to go to like the communist version of free market society where all of a sudden our administration's buying giant stakes in companies if they don't like them? Cool. If that's the direction we're heading in, I mean, China's fucking whipping our ass when it comes to energy and investment in the future. I mean, they're definitely like when you look at if AI does pan out, which I think is very speculative at best currently, but the demands that could need to be met there in 10 or 15 years, the communist idea of a free market society seems to be winning out because the free market, as we have it set up currently, I mean, it's just a big game, right? Like, this is our best guess at what an economy should look like, but we're not following the rules of how we wanted to set the game up. It's like we talk about like
Hmm.
COVID or the 2008 crash, like we're bailing the one percenters out. Well, then we're kind of perpetually kicking the can. Like at some point, the bill's going to get paid, have to get paid.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's gonna be a time when we go through a 1930s level depression where we finally rip this Band-Aid off and we can't keep kicking the can. Because if you have like private equity, right? This is a great example of how rotten even though I believe our economic system is the best, but this is a testament to how rotten it has become. Like the private equity business model of buying businesses, stripping them of everything, running them as lean as possible, and then selling them back into the open market and just dumping it on other people. Like, as long as that's a profitable business model, then I wouldn't say that we are in a truly like free open market capitalist society. Like, I don't think we've ever really experienced a true free market. There's always the one percenters that can bend the rules and change the rules whenever they want to bail out them and their friends.
I just wonder what that feels like, to have that amount of influence. Because at different points in all of our lives, like we've felt good about our savings, whether you like tip a guy a little bit extra to get your, like maybe the table, they're like, hey, we're full, or like just get like you grease the wheels a little bit. You're a little cash heavy and you're like, you go on a vacation, you're like, I can splurge a little bit and you like get away with something or you get something extra because people think you got it like that. I wonder what it feels like to have that much liquid available to be able to pay people that are making the rules. Like, of course, why wouldn't you do that? Right? Like that, I mean, but when we have so many people doing that, I don't even know if you have someone that has a righteous heart steering the ship if it fucking does anything.
Well, so talking about privilege, did you hear about the Fed official that was caught with mortgage fraud? That she
Mm-mm.
committed mortgage fraud. So the Federal Reserve, the way it's designed, there's the Federal Open Market Committee, which are 12 members, literally 12 boomers that control the price of money for the entire world. So this is 12 people that decide where interest rates are going to go. One of those people was caught getting a 3% rate last year.
Mm-hmm.
and then placed there's they also listed that as their primary residence twice or something like that. I don't uh, understand all the ins and outs of mortgage fraud, but basically these people, they're controlling the price of money, and then they're writing their own rules.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you say we're in a free market when something like that can happen?
Yeah.
I wonder too, could we be going towards a time when the stock market either becomes the dinosaur way of doing business or eventually goes away and more people lean towards private doing things, owning business and privately? Because I feel like with the stock trading and your business goes public, that's when things get hammered, right? And then when you look at
Mhm.
the other side of it, the private buying of businesses like you were talking about earlier and selling it, I feel like that's happened more these days because there are so many boomers and older folks that had started these businesses, have run them privately, and now they're ready to sell, but they don't want to sell to their kids. They don't know of anyone they can sell it to. And these private businesses are coming along and willing to spend all kinds of money to sell it to these older folks. And just like their homes that they bought cheap back in the day, they're going to sell it to the highest bidder, which is private equity businesses. And so because of that, there's not many other people these days who don't have the entrepreneurship outside of, I guess, creating apps to start their own, you know, welding company, plumbing company, AC company, marketing company, whatever it is these days. And so but a great example of the great American way that you could do something is Bucky's. That's all like a huge conglomerate that's growing, and that's completely privately owned by one guy running the whole thing, right? And he's like, I don't
Mhm.
want it to go to publicly traded company because I want to be able to have control of everything that's happening and create the lifestyle that I want my employees to have. I can pay them as much as I want to. He pays them $15 an hour at the lowest wage. And then two as well, he can create the environment he wants. Now you look at other people that have the sense of wanting to grow a business. I almost sense that we could be going more towards that way of pre stock market running of businesses.
Uh, I mean, as far as just entrepreneurship and like
Entrepreneurship, yeah, but I feel
and
like everyone's
physical
realizing
trades.
that stocks kind of hinder growth and hinder people's way of earning wages almost.
I Yeah,
Unless you're an Apple, Amazon, but then again that's why I said earlier is those companies will never leave the stock market because that's just how they've built their business. But at some point, is that just going to be how those types of companies are going to survive? Or as a company, will the stock market now become a place of if you want to survive because your business isn't doing well, you need to gain investors and now you'll go into the public space. But now everyone knows you've lost that culture, that business culture, and it's now being controlled by everybody else instead of what you built it on.
so yeah, a lot to unpack. So the stock market, while it's a great engine for being able to raise capital, it comes with so much red tape
Yeah,
that it really hinders a business from being able to like maneuver and change. And I think your thesis is right in that in the next 10, let's call it 10, 20 years, people like you and me are going to be able to like spin up these AI companies like, hey, create this website that creates content for web creators or whatever,
Mhm.
and that is going to eat into all the publicly traded companies. So I think it's definitely going to shift away from the model of, companies growing and then going public to just staying private for that. But also, I think the indexes are going to hurt longer term because the boomers were really the generation that like wholeheartedly believed in like passive investing in the index funds. So what's going to happen because millennials, I mean, yeah, we do, like you and me do, but
Sure.
a lot of millennials don't, man. Like a lot of millennials and younger generations are pretty despondent and really are very nihilistic and don't have that same hope, that same fundamental optimism. So what's going to happen when all these boomers, die off? Sorry for the crude language, but and they have to sell their stocks and hand them down to their kids. What's going to happen to, yeah, the stock market, to the indexes, when there's no longer that like perpetual bid underneath it every Friday when people get their paychecks. So
Ooh.
yeah, there's multiple reasons why I think the stock market's going to fundamentally change within our lifetime.
Yeah. And especially too, going back to that, people want, everyone it used to be, oh, you got a 401k and people got excited about it. You talk to someone, kids nowadays about 401k, they're like, but why
They
would I
don't
do that?
care.
Why why would I give 4% of my income every month when I can go put it into something else or go buy weed with it? What why would I do why would I do that? And so and then what's going to happen, I feel like too, is what you talked about earlier is they don't have the motivation to do that either because so many also millennials and Gen Zs are seeing their grandparents working still. And then they're like,
Yeah.
what's the point? What's the point of saving if I'm still going to be working at that age anyways? Why not enjoy it now before I get to that age? And so I feel like some people don't see the point.
And I struggle with that too. I mean, I do and I don't, because I, I'm very like maniacally obsessed about investing. So I feel like I have a good vision of what's going to happen. So I'm preparing accordingly, right? Like I'm
Sure.
buying as much of my favorite assets as possible, like Bitcoin being one of them for sure. So I'm, you know, hopeful and optimistic for my future. Like if hyperinflation does happen, like, well, I'll be okay. But man, there's so many people out there that aren't preparing for it. And as happy and hopeful as I am for myself, like I am so sad and so broken for those people, you know?
But also something I thought about the other day is I thought about that too, right? Like many of us are doing what we can to prepare for the future, right? Doing what we can to
Yeah.
be ready for when that time comes and I can retire and go enjoy life. And then there's so many people that can't. But has it always kind of been like that too, where there was always a
Yeah,
few
sure.
that did that? But
I
now we're at an age where we think about it more, and now there's more things to remind us to be at that level constantly.
I think like anything that's like cycled throughout history, I think there were times of great like economic prosperity. Like if you read I've read like Ray Dalio's Principles for a Changing World Order. So it goes through the history of who was the reserve currency. So you've had the Dutch, you had the British, and now us. So there's these periods of like struggling, like the Dark Ages, and then peak economic prosperity, and then crashing down, right? I think we could be in that same bell curve. So yeah, the last 50 years we had like peak economic prosperity, where we had the most amount of people comfortably, easily saving and then comfortably retiring. And now we're kind of crashing down on the end of that curve, where more and more people are not going to live comfortable lives and be able to retire comfortably.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's,
retirement, I think, is it's a newer concept. Like, because most people, they worked until they died. Really, that I think retirement is kind of a modern concept.
I think once they realized people started living longer, they had to come up with something to force
Yeah.
people to like, you should save money because you're going to live a little longer, buddy, and you're not going to be able to work. Oh, never mind. We created Walmart. You can stand next to the door and greet them. Never mind. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to get you worried. Yeah, it seems like also too, it's also had me reflect on what I was just talking about, right? That you and I and all of us think about retiring and planning and we seem to like surround ourselves with things that constantly remind us to do that, right? But then again, it's also kind of that old adage of you will become on what you surround yourself with, right?
Yeah.
So if you have family or friends or your lifestyle or your work is surrounded by you and you see both sides of the story, you see what it looks like to retire. You meet people and you know people that have retired and you live in a good life and they're giving you advice. But then again, you've also see the lifestyle of people that are still working, and still struggling. You're like, well, if I want that side more than I want that side, what do I got to do to get there? And you're like, well, I'll work a lot now, play a lot now, but you should still have
Mhm.
fun, spend your money and have fun now, but you should still be putting stuff away to get there. Now, like you said earlier, though, I think we're in that weird stage in life where people are trying to, like millennials and Gen Zs are going to have to figure out what that category is going to be. I think most people think it's Bitcoin. A lot of them these days. Back in the day, it was 401k and blue chip stocks. Back in the day, and now it's, hey, what are we going to? That's right, Bitcoin, baby, keep buying, don't sell it. You know, what is it they're going to do these days? You know, and I think that's what you're pointing to, or Roth, you know, whatever it might be.
But so much of it comes from like having a passion and drive to teach yourself. And this speaks really to how like rotten our society is because it's all downstream from the money. So if you pollute and poison the money, then it forces us to go out into the market and be speculators. Like if things were actually good, then we shouldn't have to go out to the market like and trade. Like I trade every day, I trade options and stocks every day. Like I shouldn't have to do that.
We should just trust our Lord and Savior Vanguard. So do all of it for us.
Shout out, I worship Schwab.
Nice. No hate. No hate at all.
But if God is in all of us, isn't he in Schwab?
He's definitely in low index funds. I mean, if you don't know what you're doing, just parking your faith there. It's hard
Just
to
do
fuck
that.
up.
That'll keep you above water, man.
Mid risk, mid reward.
I mean, I think you could crank up the risk on a low index fund. I don't know.
Yeah, I always tell that when they're like, "What is it in?" I so many people I've talked to with 401ks. I'm like, "Have you ever when you signed up for that? Did you ever look at what risk pool you're in?" They're like, "What are you talking about risk pool?" I go, "Here, don't listen to everything I do. Just go in and crank that baby up into the red. And go, just turn it up into the red, and then don't touch it for another 40 years. Just leave it there.
As long as you're young, you know.
That's what I tell. It's only young people are telling that. When if you're in your 50s, like, hey man, maybe
right,
bring that one back down a little bit, you know.
Yeah, well, that's the other exciting part about, like, honestly, like ChatGPT, the other models, etc. A lot of the stuff that I didn't understand, like the other day I was making a trade and I was looking at something, I was like, I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. And I'm even trying to ask ChatGPT. I'm like, I want to move it over here. I don't want to get these fines, or like I want to avoid something on my taxes. I don't remember exactly what I was trying to sell and what I was trying to roll over, etc. I couldn't even explain to ChatGPT what I'm trying to do, because when I'm looking at something that is not dressed up with a really pretty UI, it makes it fucking simple for an ape to click a couple buttons. So I just screenshot the screen and send that to ChatGPT, and I'm like, here's what I'm trying to accomplish. And it's like, and mine talks to me really funny, like a friend, like a bro. It's like, oh, gotcha. Why didn't you just say that the first time? Like, you want to do this, this, this. I was like, all right, cool. Now I know for sure I'm not fucking it up.
On the other end, like, I'm this idiot.
That's how my Grok talks to me.
Yeah.
I'll be like, dude, Grok, is this a good investment? He's like, hell no, dude, that's dumb as shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, sweet.
Yeah. I
Thanks,
asked
Grok.
it something one time and it was like, of course you'd ask me that. Okay, well, here's the answer. I was like, fuck you, dude.
All right. Never mind.
This is what I get for using the free model this month? Like, my bad. I'll turn the subscription back on.
I'll start a new one, ChatGPT. I'll start a new thread. Don't make me do it.
I'll make you erase all my memories.
I am your God. Yeah, that's the ChatGPT thing is I was actually thinking about this on the way here. Is like, I wonder if AI could be the death of social media.
Social media? You know,
Because you scroll through,
No.
you scroll through social media, and maybe this is just my algorithms, but I feel like it's like for a while it was a lot more human input, a lot less AI, and you've seen the amount of AI videos and input kind of starting to balance. And at some point, is that going to surpass? And then people just get tired of AI bullshit after a while, because it's the same thing over and over and over and over again. And then people are like, I'm bored. because now it's the human creativity that kind of always made social media fun and night and wild and crazy. But then once everyone's just uploading, creating accounts and overwhelming it with AI bots over time, unless they get that under control, are people just going to get bored with it?
Dead internet theory, right?
It's kind of, yeah, dead internet theory is a real one. It's funny because from my perspective, because I use X primarily, and I also use Instagram. From my perspective, I think Facebook and Instagram are like they feel dead to me.
Mm.
Like it just it doesn't feel. I don't feel any life in it, but at least on X, I do. I think the bot problem is actually the worst on X, but it feels the most alive to me
Mm-hmm.
because it's actually a real conversation.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing too is I saw someone made a piece of content about this. I think I saw it on TikTok the other day, where he was talking about, it seemed like the social media that we grew up with, where it's like I'm eating a sandwich or going to meet up with so and so, and just
Yeah.
the dumb bantering stuff. Like I even found, through our sharing of the podcast, the psychedelic business, other working with other creators, etc. Like noticing how the metrics infected my mind and regressing from wanting to post as much on social media. So like the last like month and a half or so, I've gotten back to like treating it like a scrapbook and just like once a week, once every couple of weeks, just like posting the things that I did for my friends to see what I've been up to instead of sitting there. It's like, it feels like the internet, it's like you have to manicure this like perfect video or experience or photo. It's got to have the perfect caption. It's like, I want to create the internet that I grew up with again for my friends. And maybe it's not posting of just a picture of a sandwich, but like the silly stuff that we grew up with. My TikTok feed has like incredible rednecks jumping lawnmowers, don't get me wrong, and I want to keep that there.
Woo.
But I also want to see what my buddies are up to. Like a lot of the people that I grew up with, it's like we just don't post for shits and giggles anymore. It's like just my feed full of like creators.
It's like boomers on Facebook.
You know?
That should be our new thing here on that should be our podcast. We ain't perfect, but
Yeah.
we're real.
I catch myself doing that all the time. Like I'll post a story and it'll just be like, let's say I'm at jujitsu or let's say like I'm on vacation or something, and I'll post it like I'll get this feeling afterwards like, oh, that wasn't smooth enough, it wasn't
Right.
polished enough. Like, am I gonna get, enough, like a lot of views from it, but it's like, why we never used to worry about that.
Mm-mm.
Like the early 2010s, like when we were all just on Facebook, like we never worried about any of that.
What sparked it too is actually Facebook for me and seeing the memories. So when it's like on this day and I'm posting shit in college, like I'm the coolest guy alive, like PCB, what's up? Get at me. And then like in the comments to my friends, like doing stupid slang because I think I sound cool.
We just like openly talk shit to each other in the comments, like, you fucking retard.
Yeah, dude. It's
like I can't believe I said this shit.
Seeing it though makes me so nostalgic, because it's like it takes you back to that time. And so if anything, I'm like, it's just nice to preserve that time capsule, because so many photos and videos. It's like, I think the nice part about social media when you're utilizing it for just pure purposes, it's like a little scrapbook. You look back and just see silly stuff.
When you die, like Facebook recognizes when you've died, and so they send you how you go to a funeral and people will create the video of all the images and stuff, but instead it's like your Facebook timeline. It's just like, is it automatic? It's like a drone comes into your funeral and it's like, we're so sorry, this is the Facebook timeline.
Remembering Colton.
It's just like just me blacked out at Bulls Club.
It's just like it's like from To Kill a Mock, not To Kill a Mock, from the Hunger Games when the Mockingbird things came and would play the things for all the people. Instead, it comes into your funeral place.
Sounds like
you're just crawling back to your apartment.
Fucking Black Mirror episode or something, right? And here's all the drafts of the messages he almost sent people or the comments he almost made but deleted because he didn't want people to see that thought.
His status got hacked, but did it?
just racist shit. You just got some algorithm just like totally changing the perception people have of you at the last second.
You're like,
What a dick move.
And then Facebook's like, if you enjoyed this, please give 10% to keep the memory alive.
Holding up the Starbucks tip screen.
It just goes around.
Turns it around.
It just has a picture of you on it. It hovers around with a basket. Please give.
Oh man, it'll be interesting to see what social media morphs into, though, because I think social media has a death grip on society at large, and it's got to be just obliterating the mental health of the kids that are going through high school right now, consumed with TikTok and Instagram likes and things like that. At least we were sheltered from that.
For a little
Dude,
bit.
I'm so glad we were the last generation without that because Facebook came out like my senior year of high school. So
Yeah.
we really, I mean, we had MySpace, but like that was fun. Like that wasn't
Yeah.
that big a deal, but
People know how to code.
I know, it was like borderline coding for that shit anyway.
Basic coding.
And like college was so much fun with like Instagram or whatever, Snapchat that we used. It was like, again,
Snapchat.
not
oh
refined. It was just connecting
Raw.
people with people, you know? No one's trying to make money or whatever. Like, yeah, people are posting pictures for likes and shit, but it wasn't, I'm going to be a full-time creator. I'm going to be a YouTuber. You know, it was just like,
and then all the parents that ended like our age, right, ends up having kids, and then took advantage of social media to put their kids out there to make money. That's been the craziest
Dude,
one.
yeah. Whenever I have kids, I'm not going to put them on social media, dude.
Why
Like,
do
I
people
think
do
that's
that?
so strange.
Don't understand that. That's such a weird way to go.
Like, who's going to take that picture and like you don't know who's looking at that. Well,
I mean, it's true. You don't know who's looking at it and what's being downloaded or who's downloading. And the thing is, too, I understand like a few pictures here and there because you want to put it out there,
like a family photo,
look at my beautiful family, and then your other family can see the photos. And here's what we're like Colt was saying. Here's what we're up to. That type of stuff.
Then you have the parents that like put their kid, like the profile picture is like just their fucking face. They're like, look what I made. Yeah. I made this. Would you like it for me?
Watch me throw this cheese on his face. Ew, he took a shit today.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, though. We will become the parents that raised us, though. I mean, like, I even find myself...
Absolutely.
When I'm like, what is a password? I'm like, oh, yeah, definitely. Kai Mewborn, 1951. It's like some version of, like, my pet's name, my last name, and our address for, like...
Well, let's not say that on the internet, Colton.
Well, it's some variation of that, but, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
But no, I think it's hilarious when I talk to my sisters and my brothers, and I'm like, or my sister and brothers, and I'm like, I hear the tendencies of my father and my mother coming out of me, and it's like, God, we're becoming the thing we swore we were.
My brother and I catch that too a lot, and I'll be like, God dang it.
Oh. Yeah, that was a big realization for me in the last call it year. Was realizing that, dude, I do want to have kids. I want to be a parent.
We're still actively working through that one.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we want kids, but we also want to travel, and it's like it's never a good time with the money thing. You're like, we should have more money, whatever. I think what we both come to realize, because Abby is 29, so she's like, hey, if I get a couple more years of love and life and we end up having a kid, like if we had a kid tomorrow, like it's not a big deal. We'd be like, awesome, cool, come on, Johnny, let's go take over the world. But planning it, I think, is a different thing too. Like if you can accept a child in the world, create a child, and like be like, that was my intention, that's what we're gonna.
The only way to maintain the lifestyle is you gotta have one kid. You can't
Yeah.
can't start getting into siblings. If you have one kid, you can put all your attention, drive, and have money for yourself and for your kid. You know, have that. But then once you get one a few years later, then you screwed it up. And you know that, Colton, because you've seen it. I've seen it. Anyone with siblings has seen it. But then you got people like Joey who traveled the world at 5 years old and was able to study.
I was so ungrateful. I didn't appreciate any of it.
Good.
Good.
I hope you stuck
shouldn't.
your gum to the Coliseum. You fucking ungrateful.
I probably did.
Give it to me, Dad. I want it.
No, you want to know how ungrateful I was, dude. I was a fucking Hot Topic, band shirt wearing, long haired kid at 14. We went to Italy, right? I wore a Marilyn Manson shirt to the fucking Vatican,
Can't make it up.
and I watched the Pope speak, bro, with my shirt on, and everyone's looking at me like, looking at my parents like, why did you let this happen?
Beautiful segue. Beautiful segue. Have you guys seen what do they call them? The clergy? Not the Pope guy, but the other guys that are, wearing the robe stuff. Have you seen, God, what are they fucking called? Anyway, the other Pope guy, the Great Value Pope that does the trance sets. Have you seen his stuff?
No. The guy, the DJ.
Yeah.
The DJ. Yeah.
Joe, you haven't seen him?
What?
Bro?
No, I gotta see this.
Bro, let me turn you on to some game right now. This is like 100%. You have to watch his sets. He does them at I don't know if you've heard of Circle, the YouTube channel where they do DJs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, dude, we watched that at our my bachelor party.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, correct. So, same thing, but like a Catholic priest is doing that. He played at the Pope's, whatever that's called, inauguration, right? He did a set there, and he's like, so his thing is like they raise money and they're spreading the message of God. Bro, he's got like hymns in his sets, and they're beautiful, and he's playing trance, and it's like in cathedrals and shit.
By the way, anyone that's like Christian, Southern Baptist, you think Bible camp is crazy?
Dude.
Catholic camp is on another level, on other continents. That's how bigger it is. You don't go like to the local park or in another state. This is in another continent.
Yeah,
in another place.
When we hop off, Joey, I'll send you a couple sets, dude. Cause the other night we were watching it. It's just like, you're just like, yes, yes.
The classic one is where everyone's sleeping and he wakes everybody up. Mm-hmm. Everyone's sleeping on that hill, and then he wakes everyone up with it. I mean, it's literally, it's almost quite literally like that South Park episode where they bring Van Halen and the religions together. Have y'all seen that one where they create a whole new religion with Van Halen and all the religions come together to create a whole new band? It's
no, but you
awesome.
did remind me.
I gotta watch that.
We are about to go watch South Park. That's when I'm about to go get some dinner, and we're gonna watch. We watched the first South Park episode, but we're about to plow through.
Heard it's good.
So good.
Heard it's been making fun of the right stuff.
Oh yeah.
The new season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so much respect, like to so many levels of just pure rebellion. It's hard to wrap your head around. It's like when you watch something you can't turn away, you like can't believe someone would just look at money and go, "Yeah, well, fuck you," and then that's why they're rich. Like it's just the god damn those guys. They don't. I heard
they created the whole trailers, all the trailer that everyone saw, and then the trailer has nothing to do with that.
I gotta find out. I'm super excited to find out.
All right. Y'all want to wrap this one up?
Let's well, I mean the whole time we were unwrapped, but we'll wrap it now. Yeah.
Now all right. So another 30 minutes. No, I'm just kidding.
Joey, thanks for coming on, man. Always love.
Yeah, no problem, man. I love coming on.
This was awesome.
I gotta come on more often.
Come as often as you can.
You can always just reach out.
All right, let's do it tomorrow. Yeah.
We try to record every week, so Whenever you're like, I've got topics, tell us because
All right.
we'll talk about it.
I'm just sort of like sitting over here, hanging in the breeze, waiting for an invitation.
You read that next Bible chapter. Let's go to Bible class. Talk about it.
I'm going to read another passage and then I'll get back to you. How about that?
I am going to send you those sets though, and yes,
Yeah.
all of the Holy Spirit that infects you. Let us know what comes of it.
All right,
Okay.
everybody. May the Holy Spirit be in all of you. Thank you for listening to Professional Hippies. Thanks for coming on, Joey. Till tomorrow. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah.